In addition to the class-wide controls, there are also a number of individual controls available within Borderless Classroom. To get to these individual controls, start by clicking on one of your student tiles. So for example here, I can see in my classroom that I have one student that may potentially be a little bit more off task than the others. I can verify this by clicking on this screen. I'll be presented with a larger view of that student screen that will update in real time. So as that student flips between different tabs or scrolls their screen, we'll see all those changes happen in real time. The next individual control here is the tab section. The tab section will show us all of the currently open tabs on the student's device and also allow us to specify individual sites we want to send the student to. This text box at the top that's asking for a URL will perform very similarly to the open tab feature from the class-wide controls. I can specify a site that I want to send this student to. So for example, if I wanted to send the student to google.com, I'd enter in that site here and click on this green open tab button. You'll then see the site get added to the student's tab list here. And if we go back to the dashboard, we'll see that Google is now the site that that student is on. The other options we have here from the tab section is the ability to refocus or close a tab. Refocus is going to redirect attention back to whatever site we're specifying. So for example, if this student is supposed to be on this Lewis and Clark site, and come to this refocus button and click on that. If I go back to the dashboard, I'll see that that Lewis and Clark site is now the site that the student is currently on. Alternatively, if you need to close a site for a student, you can do that by using this red close tab button to the right of the refocus. So if there's a site that a student doesn't have a need for, you can remove that for them with this button right here. So for example, if I wanted to close ESPN, I click on the close tab button, and we'll see that site get removed from the list. The next individual control here is this application section, and you'll see that it's grayed out because we're trying to view it from a Chromebook. To view this section, we'll need to go to a Windows device. So I'll go to this Windows device I have in my classroom. And from here, this application section is going to perform very similarly to the tab section that we were just looking at for the Chromebook. We can view a list of all the currently open applications and also specify applications that we want to open on a student's device. So for example, I needed this student to be working in PowerPoint. I could either enter in PowerPoint from the text box or use this dropdown, find the application we're looking for, specify PowerPoint and hit Open App, and that application will open on the student's device. To update this list, you'll either need to close the individual controls and reopen them, or just switch between controls. And you'll see that PowerPoint should be updated here. There it is, it gets added to that student's list right here. We can also close an application very similarly to how we did closing tabs from a Chromebook by using this Close App button. So if a student has an application open that they shouldn't or that they don't have a need for, we can view it in this list and hit this red Close App button to remove it for them. Going back to a Chromebook now, on this blocked and allowed websites list we talked about in the filtering section. Again, this is going to work for in-class filtering controls for an individual student. So we can specify sites that we want to either block or allow for certain students. We can enter in that site here into this text box, click whether we want to block or allow it, and we'll see that get added to our list here. Again, these changes are only going to apply to these individual students while they're in your class and while your class is running. So as soon as the student either leaves class or your class is ended, their filtering controls will go back to normal. The last individual control here we have is this chat window. This chat works as a one-to-one chat between educator and student, and it is strictly one-to-one between educator and student, so nothing to worry about in terms of a student-to-student interaction here. Really just meant as another form of engagement between an educator and a student in terms of either providing feedback or answering questions that a student may have that they're not comfortable asking in front of the class. But we can come to this chat window here, type a message, and click on the green send button to send that to the student's device. This will show up in a text box on the student's device, and they'll be able to respond from there.